is going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Houston Texans football. I am one part of your show, Ruben Calavillo, the two man next to me, Mr. Harley from the lead at the lead underscore Houston. You can find him on YouTube. He does a fantastic job covering this Houston Texans team. And then we have from the H-Town Rundown, my boy AD, a fantastic job covering this Houston Texans team. Watch his film nights, man. I think all of, Texans Twitter, tunes in and watches that, man. Fantastic job. Well, boys, you know why we're here.
Okay.
What happened?
I thought you wanted us to speak. I was like,
Oh yeah, oh no, I'm sorry. I thought
Hey,
y'all
he just
got
said fuck
stuck.
us, Harley.
Go ahead. I thought y'all got stuck.
I was like,
Hey,
I didn't know what was going on there.
I love it. How you
Comment
doing?
section, man. Make sure y'all drive the like button up, man. We doing our thing over here. We trying to do as much as we can for y'all. Minus stressings today.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Stressins. He is a father, so
boo. No.
right. Fuck the kid,
Made
man,
him sound old right there.
right. But
FTK.
it's coming for us, boys.
FTK.
It's gonna come for us sooner rather than later. But first of all, one more time, how you doing, Harley?
I'm doing great, man. It's it's a football Friday, and we're only a few days away before the Houston Texans take a hold of the AFC South Division. I can't wait.
AD, how you feeling, man? I miss you.
Hey, I'm feeling great on this glorious Friday, man. Feeling
Oh.
great. Ready for the Houston Texans to stomp out the Colts, put them out to the pasture. Don't want to hear from them again.
Don't want to hear from them again. The Houston Texans have already won the first matchup going all the way back to week one. Stephon Diggs, 2 tutties in that game. Joe Mixon, 159 yards on the ground. AD, I start with you. One of the biggest stories heading into this game, this Houston Texan offensive line. Are they going to be able to keep CJ Stroud upright? I think the run game will be fine no matter what happens because Joe Mixon is out there and he's just a fantastic running back in my opinion. Can this offensive line do it? They got a lot of criticism for their performance against the Green Bay Packers. It's something that even D'Amico talked about, right? He said, I know everyone's concerned about the offense. So your thoughts?
I think they get it together. I think that they didn't have help from the play calling standpoint and play design standpoint. They didn't have a lot of help going into that game against Green Bay, but I do think that they're going to turn it around. I think communication is the biggest issue with the offensive line. I don't think it's talent.
Okay.
I think the offensive line is extremely talented and athletic. It's just the mishaps and the things that happen are 98% due to communication. So go ahead.
No. So whose fault is it? Is it Juice Scruggs who's supposed to be communicating with the offensive line? Is it CJ Stroud? What is your quickest way to fix this, AD?
Do you want me to answer that? Or no?
Absolutely. This is why we're here.
It's a Bobby Sloak issue, man.
There we go.
I was trying to hold off, but Bobby Sloak getting a play call in where we're not like, if you look at it, and I just said this, a few minutes ago on the spaces, but if you look at it, imagine you playing offensive line, you breaking the huddle with 7 seconds left. You get to the line, you see what the defense is presented for you, and you literally have 5 seconds to process everything, potential stunts and everything like that in like 5 seconds, and then be successful at it. To me, that's not a recipe for success. And then also bunch formations. I've been talking about this all week. Bunch formations. When you have bunch formations, the way we had them against the Packers, you're asking your offensive line, like I just said, to dissect the defense in Juice Scruggs, CJ Stroud, and your offensive line in 5 seconds to dissect the defense, not only with just 5 or 6 men on the line of scrimmage. When you have bunch formations like that, now they have to account for 8, 9, 10 guys in the box, and you don't know who's coming and who's not coming. So now that confuses the offensive line. That puts them at a disadvantage, and now you're expecting them to, do everything, and that just irritates the hell out of me.
Now, I just want to ask, how did you come to the conclusion that the play call may not be getting fast to CJ enough?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, they said it before. I think we seen in past interviews when the players interviewed when they talked about Bobby Slowick's offense and his playbook, they said it's like the Bible.
Mm.
So like it's elongated. The place, it's not like a quick play 22 stretch or whatever you want to call it. It's an elongated play that may take 5 seconds just to get out. You know,
Yeah. Now, Harley, what seems to be the difference because last year we saw an offensive line with no Lermy Tunsil, no Titus, no Juice put up 0 sack performances against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and other teams. However, it seems like now we just can't pick up a stunt. Is this offense too complicated for the offensive line? Is Bobby Slowick kind of holding back these guys?
I mean, that's tough to say because then I look at other offensive lines with similar schemes, and for the most part, they are better than the performance of our offensive line. And I mean, I go back to the Kubiak days, who had a similar scheme here, and I know that offensive line had a lot more continuity and they played together a lot longer compared to this group, which again only 7 games through.
mm-hmm.
I'm eyeing Chris Strausser a lot because when I hear lack of communication and lack of awareness, as much as the players have to get their share of blame, Chris Strausser is the guy that's a coach. That to me falls on coaching. And I'm looking at Chris Strausser going, "Bed, what is going on, man?" Like you just mentioned it, Ruben. Last year we talked about a team that they had different offensive linemen that was just shuffling in every week. It felt like, and they had a stretch last year of tied a franchise record weeks 3 through weeks 5, 0 sacks for CJ Stroud.
Mm.
And I mean, I'm going. One of those games was the Steelers defense with T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith, and that's where I'm like, man, what's going on? What is the like? Is everyone regressed? Like, is Laramie Tunsil regressed? Go ahead, AD. I see you.
Yeah, no, so
He's ready, boy. He's ready.
yeah, right. Could it be that because of all the interchanging parts that they had to dumb it down? That when they dumb it down, it makes it easier for the offensive line.
Well, let's
Like,
go back to that.
let's go back
Hell,
to dumbing it down and not making it as complicated. Like you had so many explosive plays on dumbed down plays. Why are you trying to be so exotic when with this offense? Like I said it before, we have a Maserati and Bobby Slowick is driving at 40 miles an hour.
Mm.
Won't top it up. That's the top speed is 40 miles an hour and you got a Maserati. So like what are we
I'm
doing
off
with
the
this
Maybach.
offense? Right?
That's pretty good, AD.
I kind of laugh because I'm like, man, it's annoying. It's frustrating to see this every week, man, and it's just a constant issue for this Texans team. And all we know is as soon as the offensive line, they don't got to play great, they don't got to be good, they just got to be average.
Mhm.
You get an average offensive line, you've already touched 41, you've touched 29, like you've had some decent scores. You get an average old line, the offense is gonna just lift off. That's what at least I'm hoping. Like to me, that's correlation right there. That is causation, correlation immediately. Ain't nothing wrong being dumb.
No,
I have a
and
high GPA. Ain't no wrong with that. Dumb it
it
down
does.
if you got to do it. Let it rip, man.
I mean, and we heard the stories of Bill O'Brien, how hard this offense was for wide receivers. Crazy to think that, we're talking about this offense being complicated for this offensive line group. But, when you look at it, man, there has to be a reason why, AD. You see all the investments, right? And I'm not going to go into it because we all know what it was. Multiple firsts, multiple seconds, 3-year contracts given around. What does his offense do? You talked about dumbing it down, but give the chat something simple that they can do. Make it dumb enough so we all can understand right now. What
Yeah,
can Bobby do?
what Bobby can do is spread it out.
Mm.
Spread it out. You can run the same plays, but spread it out. Make it easier for everyone, including CJ, to see what the hell is going on. And give them time to see it. That's simple. Like that's simple. Like I don't think the schemes would be as difficult as it is if you spread everybody out. Yeah, and then secondly, use your other receivers. You got more than two receivers on the team.
Mm.
Like just those type of things, like be more productive. Because I think what he's trying to do is to quote unquote help the offensive line, but you're putting everybody, including CJ Diggs, Tank, everybody at a detriment, including the offensive line by running those bunch formations. But definitely dumb it down. Say, hey, slide protection left, slide protection right on this play. Like simple, not making it complicated where you half slide here, half slide there. Oh, everybody's sliding but the tackle. Oh, we've seen that on the all 22 film. Like there's plays where the whole right side of the offensive line is sliding except Larry Thompson. And then you the opposite. You see everybody sliding except tights. Or you sit up here and you saying, oh, I want a tight end to block a free runner, an edge rusher, and I'm expecting him to do that. Just kind of get out of the dumbassness of it all.
Yeah, in marketing they had this acronym KISS, right? Keep it short and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Harley, we've seen, Bobby Slowick understand that he is getting some criticism, and he was asked a lot of questions about the offense from multiple reporters. Could this be a bounce back game from Bobby Slowick? Do you think he has something to prove? This was a guy who was getting head coaching interviews in the off season, and so far into this season, absolutely not. I don't know who would want to offer Bobby Slowick a job after the first couple of months of the season, but does he have an opportunity to redeem himself, man?
I mean, they're at home. They perform better at home, the offensive line
Undefeated.
at least. And so I think the Houston Texans are going to have a bounce back performance. But I also think that, hey, you were a guy that was, yes, got some head coaching interviews and stuff, and sure, he didn't get a head coaching job, whether or not you want to believe it was poor interviews or it was just he wanted to stay in Houston. We'll
The pay
never
bump.
know. We'll never really know the full story. We all kind of assumed that it was some poor interviews by Bobby Slowick. He's a little boring at the podium sometimes. Maybe that's what it is. But ultimately, man, like, you got to know that with the hype around this offseason, hey, man, your job is not it is not reserved. Like, it is just
Gerard
you're just
Johnson.
filling it in day by day, man. Like, it's kind of like, hey, you got to figure this out or you're out. And this tree, this Kubiak Shanahan tree, it ain't limited to just Bobby Slowick. Like, there is many other people. If they want to grab someone else from the tree, there is many other people that have an offensive mind that is out there currently that have connections to D'Amico and connections to Shanahan and Kubiak that they could go for. Or if they want to step outside the box and go differently and say, you know what? Let's play more to the strengths of the offensive line a little bit, and let's play more to the strengths of this team, and let's see, maybe they want to try something different. I don't really see that happen with D'Amico, considering Kubiak never really did that, and a lot of the other guys never have done that really either. I'm grasping for straws to even think of an example there, but Bobby Slowick has to know that if this, oh man, knock on wood, right? But if you get this performance from the offensive line again at home, the Boo Bird's gonna come out.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely feels like CJ and D'Amico don't like getting embarrassed at home, especially at home. It feels like they haven't really said that, but they've implied, hey, we need the crowd there. Hey, we need them loud. Hey, we need them live. We're gonna be here. And that happens. Oh man, I would expect a change to happen immediately on a Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
I wonder how long until Mr. Gerard Johnson gets involved. And, this was something that Locked On has talked about. Shout out to them. Gerard has been with CJ all the way back in high school since the Elite 11. If anyone knows, what works for CJ, it is quarterback coach Gerard Johnson. Hey, and he was someone who was getting interviews for an OC job as
Yeah.
well. So that just goes to show what other teams thought about Gerard Johnson. Harley, like you don't have to go outside. You have the guy right there.
True, true.
AD. You know, should we start seeing some Gerard Johnson sightings?
Um, as much as I want to say yes, um, hometown guy, Aggie Gig'em,
Yeah.
it is it is hard for me to say in the middle of a season to give a guy who's never called to play in his life opportunity to call it.
True. It's true.
Especially when you're trying to make a Super Bowl run. Now, could you do something similar to what the Jets did, where you keep Bobby and you take away the play calling duties, and then you give him? I know we're talking about Gerard, but there's a guy called Bill Lazor,
Yep.
who's an experienced former offensive coordinator that's in that room. Do you give him an opportunity to call plays and see what the offense looks like?
We're talking about going to the playoffs. We're talking about a Super Bowl run, and then we're talking about switching, our play callers. But I think it's warranted, man, because when we heard about a 5-headed monster, we have seen anything but that. Moving on from this offense, right? We spent almost 16 minutes on the offense, but hey, it's one of the big keys to this game.
Yeah,
Harley, your confidence in number 28, Joe Mixon, last time against Indianapolis Colts, 159 yards, a touchdown. He's had 3 100-yard rush performances for this Houston Texan offense. Was your only offense last week against Green Bay. Your confidence level in him, can he repeat his week 1 performance?
Hell yeah. I mean, that's just, DeForest Buckner's coming back for the Colts. Didn't he play the first week?
He did.
Oh.
Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, didn't he play the first week?
50 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Now, I know the defense isn't, the same as week 1's. I get that. We got a lot of injuries. Neville Hewitt's strength is against the run.
Mm-hmm.
And he had himself a game and a half. It just seems like him and Jake Hansen just seem to be scheduled one way. We're going to play 120%. And it might be good, it might be bad, but you're going to get 120% out of us.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I just think that's how they're scheduled. Joe Mixon, I mean, come on, man. $159 week 1. This offensive line has shown that they could do it in the run game. They have shown that. We saw it last week against the Green Bay Packers. You would think that the run game would, scare a defense a little bit more, and did not. Maybe some predictability there by the offensive play calling, but who knows? Joe Mixon overall, though, I got a ton of confidence in him, man. What he has shown so far this year in the Houston Texans jersey, I was kind of like, it's a wait and see for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was going to be good. I didn't know he was going to be great like this. And that's where I'm going. Damn, this is game changing for this offense, because you figure this shit out. And 2-8 still running like this, and maybe you can take a little bit of the load off him just because he is a little older, But if you figure this out, and number 7 is doing his thing, and the offensive line's doing their thing, and everything's a cohesion. That's all I need. Then hell yeah, I'm confident in Joe Mixon. Hell yeah, I'm confident in the offense moving forward. But that's a big if. It's wait and see right now.
Yeah.
AD.
So you want to talk about other players on the defensive side of football? Harley mentioned Neville Hewitt. I just want to see him suplex Anthony Richardson again this game.
Might be out the game.
I feel like this is a tough draw for IR5 and Jonathan Taylor.
You said it right, IR5.
Anthony Richardson, he's going to take a hit from one of these linebackers if they're coming. Pause. And then Jonathan Taylor coming back from IR, man. Do you really want him against this front four? We know Lorenzo Fatukasi is just as physical as they come. He likes to slam running backs on the floor. He backs up his talk. It's going to be a physical football game, guys. Last week, Anthony Richardson, 0 sacks. However, pressured on 60% of his dropbacks. So Miami, they blitz a hell of a lot. is that the game plan, Harley, for the Houston Texans front four against AR5? I think you try to make him beat you with the arm. Same game plan since it was in week one. I don't think he's a good quarterback, if I'm being honest with you.
He's inconsistent, and he's too inconsistent. You know, I mean, I thought that one of his best games was the Bengals game in the preseason, where oh my god, everyone's going crazy because Anthony Richardson's first drive against backups was a touchdown. And sure, he looked good. He made some pretty good throws. And then the next preceding drives, he just went to shit. And I'm like, that's Anthony Richardson, though. He's inconsistent. The quarterback rating, the passer rating is horrible. But then you look at week one against us, and you get a pretty good Anthony Richardson that game. I mean, I'm not going to lie. So, it is what it is there, but Anthony Richardson has to play better for the Colts if they're going to even sniff a W.
So there was a stat that the Colts fans, they've been active all week. I guess whenever you mention the Colts game versus the Texans, they just start to try to invade Texans Twitter. There was a stat from one of the Colts fans. They said Anthony Richardson hasn't thrown over 50% in the game since he's been a starter in the NFL.
Not even ours in week one?
Yeah. No, I think he was at like 48, 49, right at 50%. He hasn't thrown over 50%. So it is, quarterback rating last game was 59. Against the Bears was 39. 41 against the Packers. He had 101 against us, but you take those three gigantic plays away. What is this quarterback rating after that? So it's like, I mean, average right now quarterback rating is 60. So he's not a good quarterback. It's something that I said when pre-draft. I don't believe in Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson only played 1 year in college, barely played that. Anthony Richardson is a freak athlete. He can run fast. He can jump high. He can bomb the ball far. But that's about it. He's inaccurate as hell. He can't throw, a quick out route. He can't throw an out route to save his life. So, like, all of these things.
All my homies hate Jake Zeller. Oh, my God. If you know, you know. That AFC South Warzone Facebook chat is, it's ridiculous. But I'm sorry, AD, to cut you off.
I mean, looking at his QBR versus Houston is just a 43.2. Completion percentage versus Houston, like I said, is a 47.7. And that's in all the games that he's played against Houston.
Are you blitzing him 50% of the time?
Yeah. What is he? He's not going to beat you over the top. He can't.
I don't know. We said that
he can't get it there. When I say that, it's like he has the arm strength too. You got to be, but even if you butt naked open, we saw it in week one. AD Mitchell was wide open like 2 or 3 times. Even white boy, what's his name?
Alec Pierce.
Alec Pierce was wide open, and he missed him. I mean, like butt naked ass open, and he missed him. So he doesn't have the accuracy. So that doesn't scare me. If you get one off, fine, pause. But you're not about to. You can't do it consistently. So I'm not scared. Like I'm going to blitz you. I'm going to be in your face all game. I'm going to bring the pressure. And the way their offensive line has been playing, honestly, you don't even have to blitz. You can just bring 4 or 5, and you're going to get to Anthony Richardson.
Sounds like us. Yeah.
Well, hey, if you got 8 on the line, you only got 5.
Killed the mood right there, but
I know, right? We're gonna have a mid off on the O line. I'm sorry about that, boys. I'm not worried about Michael Pittman Jr. Derek Stingley has completely shut him down. I don't think he's had more than 60 yards against the Houston Texans in the last couple of matchups.
Ain't no team worried about no goddamn Michael Pittman.
I think Josh Downs is a problem. Their slot wide receiver. I think this might be the key matchup for the offense, as well as a hobbled Jonathan Taylor. Harley, we have potentially Henry TuaTua coming back. He is questionable for the game. Kamari Lassiter is expected to go. No Azeez Al-Shaair. So it will be Neville Hewitt, I hope, alongside of Henry Tuo. Harley, we also got Devin White to talk about, man. I know AD feels some type of way. You see that stink face. We'll let him talk about Devin White, but your thoughts on Josh Downs and Jonathan Taylor, Harley.
Okay, I thought we were going defense. Whatever. Josh Downs, yeah, Josh Downs is an explosive wide receiver. To me, their best wide receiver. I'm just not a big fan of Michael Pittman Jr. I don't know really what he does for the team. Yeah, he's got consistent hands, good for him. But I mean, there's no defensive coordinator in NFL that goes, "Oh, boys, strap them up. We gotta make sure we're game plan for Michael Pittman Jr. this week." Ain't no one saying that, man. They saying that for Josh Downs, and hell, they'll say that for the 1 to 2 plays of Alec Pierce. Like, I ain't worried about no Michael Pittman Jr. Hell, man, I might. I was gonna say something, but you know what? I might not stretch it that far. I ain't gonna stretch it that far. I was gonna say D'Angelo Russell, Michael Pittman might just do some work, but
All
you
right,
know what?
all
That might be stretching the truth a little.
right.
I might stretch a lie out right there. I ain't gonna lie with you.
Russell
Michael
getting
Pittman better
cooked.
than that. Michael Pittman better than that. And then JT, I mean, we know JT's a bad dude. I mean, I'll give him his respect when it's due. He's a bad dude. But, hey, man, I want to see what the Texans defense can do. You mentioned Henry T coming back. Hopefully he's ready to go on Sunday. I know he practiced today, didn't practice yesterday, practiced the day before. So we're looking at, 2 out of the last 3 days he is practicing. So we'll see what's going on Sunday. I'm sure they're going to reevaluate it and see what happens. He'd probably be a game time decision. Overall, though, I'm pretty happy with how Neville Hewitt and Jake Hansen performed. I'm hoping for another good performance from both of them linebackers. Maybe I was a little too cautious in the last game, and they played out of their minds for me. And then the signing of Devin White, I think I'm going to share the same sentiments here with AD. I'm just not a big fan of Devin White. I like that he's 26. That's cool. But, I said it in my video. D'Amico can make any linebacker work. Devin White going to test that sentence right there. Like, Devin White is going to test that sentence. I'm not expecting a whole lot. My expectations are very low.
There's a reason why the Eagles let him walk.
Oh yeah.
Especially, like, I understand he got beat out in training camp or whatever, but the way the Eagles have had injuries, the way the Eagles have been playing, there was opportunities for him to play, and they just said, you know what, you got it. You can go ahead and go home. The Buccaneers didn't want to keep him. So that's a lot of worry for me. That's first off. Second of all, he hasn't been the same player. People want to reference that game against us. Then they show the highlights, and I'm like, there's nothing like spectacular that he did in that game. He just played average linebacker play, and that was probably his best game of the season in Tampa. And that was just like average play. So he doesn't have the speed he used to have, because that was part of his stick, is that he can fly around sideline to sideline. He can't do that anymore. I don't know what happened. I can't recall his injury history, whatever it is.
He's been healthy, man.
Yeah, he just doesn't. It just isn't there anymore. I think people get excited, and I say this for a lot of Houston Texans fans. They get excited for names that they know rather than players that can play. Give me a guy that can play that I have no clue what his name is, rather than a guy who has a name that can't play.
I mean, that's how we felt about Mario Edwards Jr. and Lorenzo Fatukasi,
Yeah, who? So exactly what we were saying when we signed him. Like, who is this guy? I don't really know him, but they're playing their asses off, right? So I want those type of guys. I want the lunch pail type of guys. There's he doesn't play special teams. He's a diva. He does. That's crazy to say as a linebacker, you're a diva that you don't want to play or refuse to play special teams. That's another reason why Philly let him go, because you're a backup. As a backup linebacker, you're expected to play special teams. I'll be damned if I have a backup linebacker that's not on my punt return or kickoff team or anything like that. Like, I'll be damned. Delshon Phillips is our 5th linebacker. You see him out there every
making plays.
play.
Yep.
And then, go further. Jake Hansen, before he became a player on the field. Thank you, Dominic. Um, but before he got on the field to play, he was in all the special teams, special team rooms. So it's just something that you have to do, like a backup running back. That's why Cam Akers was, as much as people had hope for Cam Akers, it wasn't going to work when Joe Mixon came back because Cam Akers doesn't play special teams.
Nope.
Like your backup running backs, your backup linebackers, your backup safeties and corners, those are your special teams guys. And if you don't have guys that can play special teams and they choose not to, that's when you're in bad situations. So Devin White, if I said this earlier, I don't know if I tweeted it out or not, but if D'Amico Ryans can make Devin White a player again, he is going to be the greatest linebacker coach of all time. Of all time.
I
Okay.
was I was watching Landry Locker and Cody Stutes'
Yeah.
stream, and they had Brooks Cabina on, who now covers
Yeah.
the Philadelphia Eagles, and he brought up the fact that there's no kind of character issues, wrong from his point of view about Devin White. That over there, what seemed to be the issue was he relied more on his athleticism to
Yep.
make the play instead of him knowing what to do. The fact that he's 26 years old, I think, is the only thing that kind of is like a little just piece of shining gold right there, right? If we chip, is it going to keep on becoming gold? But if it is D'Amico, I mean, we have the trust that he could do it. Henry Noah went from Henry to a Tua, in just
No,
one
no,
off.
no, no. You're not giving D'Amico that credit.
Hey, hey.
You're not giving D'Amico that credit. You give it to me. You give it to me.
Well, we're gonna
Okay.
give it to you one more time, so we need you to, to say Devin White's name some kind of type of crazy way. I don't, I said it in my video. I don't think he's gonna start any games for this Houston Texans team. I just, I think it was kind of a safety valve for how much longer is he's out. Shahir might be out if there's any other potential injuries that happens. Knock on wood. We still don't know what the hell's gonna happen. Christian Harris, very interesting signing. You hope that D'Amico, sprinkles some of his dust on this game. Moving back and Harley, I first want to talk about our rookie safety because I keep on going back and looking at his 3 interceptions. I think the Houston Texans might have found something, right? I see some odds slowly creeping up on BetUS defensive rookie of the year. Kalen Bullock's first INT was against Anthony Richardson in week 1 in the end zone. Your thoughts on the rookie, how he's been so far, and does he potentially, does lightning strike twice? Does he get one against AR5, who can give you one at any given moment?
Oh hell yeah! Keep the streak going with damn Kalen Bullock. I mean, he has been amazing for someone that when he was drafted here with the Texans. Look, I'll be honest, I really wasn't too. I knew who he was, but I didn't really know who he was. I didn't really go in depth on Kalen Bullock. I kind of was like, oh, okay, this is a guy that I remember could play that free safety role in bad tackling. Like that's the only thing I could remember from Kalen Bullock. And since he's been here, I mean, the tackling hasn't been that bad. And he's playing that free high safety center fielder kind of role that D'Amico Ryans really loves. San Francisco 49ers defenses really, really love that center field, that free safety. And Kalen Bullock plays it to perfection. And hey, man, continue making turnovers. That is something the Texans defense has been lacking, was creating turnovers. They had 3 in the last game. Patriots game, they had some more turnovers. So, hey, man, keep it going. Kalen Bullock is having himself a year and a half. I love it because that just tells me, oh, okay, we got something here at free safety. All I got to really worry about is the rest of the secondary, filling in some depth pieces, filling in slot cornerback. But yeah, it is what it is there. I'll figure it out as we go along. But right now, I am very excited about what Kalen Bullock is bringing for the Texans.
AD, I don't know if we want Dom going to these Texans games because, like I just brought up,
No.
he's 0-11 at games that he goes to, and he's going to the Jets game and he's going to the Lions game right this season.
Let me say this, Dominic, stay your ass out the stadium. stay your ass wherever you tailgate and stay there. Do not step foot in the stadium. We do not need the bad juju. Because I'm
That's
telling you right
crazy
now.
though, bro. 0 and
Come on, man.
11.
Mm.
Look, I told Larry and Stafford. I told Larry and Stafford because he went to the Minnesota Vikings game. Said he was tweeting out, "Oh, I may go to Green Bay." No, you sit your ass right there. Don't you dare. Don't you dare go out there. Nah, I don't need none of that bad juju, man. Nah, damn it.
AD, I go back to you. No Nico Collins this time against the Indianapolis Colts. Which one of these pass catchers steps up? Is it Stephon Diggs? Is it Tank Dell? Also, the Colts are, giving up a 80 plus rating to opposing tight ends, but we heard this story last week against the Green Bay Packers. However, they were giving up a 90 plus rating to opposing tight ends. One of these guys needs to step up for CJ Stroud. Who is it going to be?
Um, honestly, I mean, it's gotta
Look at
be.
the eye roll he's doing.
It gotta be Stephon at this point because I mean Tank is just Tank. I don't know what's going on, but it's a mental thing with Tank. And again, we saw the tight ends cased over and Dalton Schultz have two big catches at the beginning of the Packers game. Then they went MIA after that. So hopefully that isn't a trend that you get them started and then you never go back to them. So we'll see. But definitely, I think Stephon Diggs is a guy that's going to abuse the Colts and make his name known. And he may see his first 100-yard game.
Oh, I like that, Harley. Because before we go, and I'll get one at AD, then go back to Harley at the end. Harley, the Houston Texans will win if
Damn. Offensive line plays an average game.
oh
Hell, man, I'll make it simpler than that. Show up.
There it is.
It's really what it is, man. We continue to point the gun at our foot, and we just having fun at it. But all you got to do is you can keep the gun pointed at your foot.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it on safety. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. You keep pointing at your foot. Just put it on safety. That's all I ask. Minor improvements. That's all I want in this game. Just show some signs of improvement and something to make us fans feel better about, as long as we get the W, of course, for the following week. All right. And real quick on Tank Dell.
Go ahead.
Oh, no one agrees with me. I'm just not worried for Tank Dell. I really not. I think the first 4 weeks we strayed away from the conversation that Tank Dell was misutilized. And that is something that I harped on a lot in the first 4 weeks. They used him as a gadget player. They used him as an end-around guy, bubble screen, wide receiver screen. And I got just upset with it because Tank Dell showed you and proved to you last year he could be an X wide receiver. The pre-draft conversations, all it was, oh, he's just a gadget guy. He's just a gadget guy. Height, weight combo's not good. But hey, man, I didn't say it.
I was so hype about that, bro.
And I understand, man. I think people are more upset about Tank Dell right now because he dropped a touchdown pass in Green Bay. And I look at it and I go, man, that was in the first quarter. Okay, that wasn't the fourth quarter, 12 seconds left, and he dropped the touchdown. Like, just because he dropped that touchdown didn't mean we lost the game. Like, y'all just turned the game over. Y'all turned the game off as soon as he dropped it.
We lost by 2. We lost by 2, Harley.
We lost by 2.
How many points is the difference in a touchdown and a field goal?
That's awesome. I appreciate that. How about 86 passing yards of CJ Stroud? How about he performed better too?
Oh,
but then we got to go to the offensive line not blocking. It's a whole kind of mess, man. Come on. I'm not giving a lot of heat for Tank Dell. I understand he dropped the goose egg this previous week, but Patriots game, 7 catches, 57 yards and a touchdown. Nobody had too much of a problem. Oh, but that was the New England Patriots. But nobody said nothing when we dropped 40 on their ass. That's all I got to say about Tank Dell. I'm expecting a good game from him.
The Houston Texans will win if?
I'm similar to Harley. CJ Stroud wakes up and says his prayers. That's it.
Score prediction, AD.
That's
Eat his
it.
vitamins and say his prayers.
Score prediction. I'm going 30 burger. I'm going 34-17, man.
34-17. Wow. I mean, if that happens, wow, I'll be surprised. I would say, hey man, this offense came to play. I had it 24-17. I don't think Indy's gonna put that much points on the board. I think the Houston Texans will be able to capitalize off of a turnover. But ladies and gentlemen, we haven't done this all year. Harley,
Hey,
now is
Harley,
well, hold up.
he didn't get his score prediction.
Oh, well, I was going to get it right now. I was going to say, I need some hype words from Mr. Harley Dugan because we haven't seen it all year. We have
Yes, you do.
124 people in the chat. Before he starts going off, guys, let's like it up. We're getting the what chance going. Harley, Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts. We're at home. It's at 12 o'clock. CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Shane Steichman, D'Amico Ryans. What do the Houston Texans need to do? Can you hype us up?
Can I hype y'all up? Oh man. Oh man. Look, man, I'm gonna just keep it simple.
Mm.
There ain't much to do. It's the Indianapolis Colts, man.
What?
When you're talking about a quarterback,
What?
maybe a running back,
What?
we don't know what he is.
What?
What's he gonna do?
What?
What he should do?
What?
We're looking at a 2 interception performance from AR, man. That's what we're looking at right there.
What?
We looking 2 interceptions from AR, man. We looking at the Houston Texans, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not too down on them from their previous performance. I do believe becoming back at home, NRG, they're gonna do their thing. They're gonna rock out. They're gonna perform and have a great performance in front of this H-Town crowd because we're gonna be live. We're gonna be loud, and it's always H-Town till we die, man. That's how it always is going to be because the Houston Texans, ladies and gentlemen, with CJ Stroud and Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, I mean, there's too much talent. There is too much talent offensively for them to not drop at least 30. But you know what? I will be nice because 27-17 to me is the biggest score prediction here. The defense steps up and they show up, show out. They do their thing. Kalen Bullock, have yourself a day. Enter yourself into the defensive rookie of the year conversation. 2 feet standing with an interception against AR. He does his thing. We get a couple of sacks. Hey, Will Anderson, you get to enter yourself more into the defensive player of the year conversation right there. You get yourself a pair of sacks. The Houston Texans do their thing and dominate defensively. Offensively, they get some points. They do their thing. Emi gets some field goals, but overall, the Texans offense looks better than last week, and it shows signs that we could compete and make a deep playoff run.
And that's the bottom line.
Because Harley Dugan said so. Rich Boy J, thank you for the $10, Texans fan. I try to tell you guys the Jaguars run the AFC South. This is our division. T-Law is better than Stroud. Better luck in 24. Have fun competing with Indy for a second in the AFC South. Duval, AD responds to that.
I love this troll. He's trolling heavy, bro.
I will have to say this. Ever since Dawson dropped that video, it has not gone right for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It has not gone right. And, shout out to our boy Dalton. He just announced a baby. I think that's kind of one of the only things going positive for him because it's not the Jacksonville Jaguars, man.
Poor guy, man. Poor guy.
He's talking about Jake Zeller. Hardy, Jake Zeller is this guy in the Facebook AFC South Warzone chat, and like about 20 times a day he just talks about how the Houston Texans are a poverty franchise, and he just likes to get under our skin. But guys, we are gonna end today's episode. That was Harley. That was AD. For more Houston Texans content, you guys know what to do. Follow us for more. Have a blessed day. And guys,